Tissa here, and welcome back to You Can Grow Too, and welcome to the fall garden season here in the subtropics of Florida, Zone 10, my favorite time to grow and give garden tours in, along with the winter garden as well. This fall, I've done more seed starting than I have done direct sowing in the garden itself. And if you've done seed starting before, you know there's positives and negatives to it, as with anything else. And I have found last year when I've done a little bit of it that I had an earlier harvest. Of course that is true. You get an earlier harvest when you plant ahead. But also here in the deep south, we have to think about it being still too hot. There's pests out. There's also the risk of hurricanes happening, just as you in a northern climate might need to think about that early frost. So we have lost some plants along the way, to be expected, that's gardening, but we also have a lot of good happening, a lot of things growing, and I want to show you them on this tour. Something I'm also finding to be a little difficult is when I'm going to be doing these tours, because this season is the first time that I have the oak tree down, and that has given a lot of healthy shade in the garden. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is doing what I'm doing now is kind of find those pockets of shade, and that is something that my husband and I have been doing in this garden, because in Florida, the sun is very intense, even in the early part of fall. And also trying to catch the quietest times in the day, because I do live in the middle of the neighborhood. And there's also a lot of nature sounds around me, but that's not so bad. But despite all the craziness, there's still a lot out here growing, and we're just getting started. So let me take you in the garden to show you, and also show you all the different varieties I am growing. So in this tour, I want to show you what is happening, but I do want to go over all the varieties I'm growing this fall and why I am growing them. But first, I have to show you these bananas, because these are fall bananas and we want to see if they will come to ripeness through our winter time. And we don't really freeze here because I am in zone 10, so maybe we have a chance, especially with the oak tree being down and having more sun. This is one of our last look at the sugarcane. We'll be harvesting these sometime in winter, but look at that. It might be hard to tell, but it is nearly touching the wire. I just think that's amazing. I can't wait to harvest them. It's so much fun. And we're going to start by looking at this bed. This is the bed of beans. It is primarily the dragon tongue bush beans and the provider bush beans. And here's some papaya plants here. I'm going to be dividing those out and giving them to someone here on the end. But here are the beans, and this year I tried to do a whole bed of beans, because last year I did it one side lengthwise and tried to be smart and grow bok choy on the other side, and the beans just flopped over. But the dragon tongue bush beans, yeah, they're looking really good. Really got good growth here in mid-October, starting to branch out. And I discovered something different this season, and we do have some worms, some caterpillars I should say. I'm not sure what kind they are, but they do nip at the leaves and kind of roll themselves up in it. But I don't know. But here I'm showing you that we might be getting some buds soon, so I'm very excited about that. A great sign of fall for me is when the bush beans are coming through. But yeah, there's some more buds. So by next tour, I'm thinking we'll be seeing some beans. I do see some eggs here. I don't know what that is. Maybe it has to do with those caterpillars, but it's always important to try to identify what you have going on. And here we have some self-seeded Asian greens, and not all my provider bush beans had shown up. So things are showing up here, self-sowing, and this is tobacco, believe it or not. The seeds are so small and fine. I'm actually very shocked that we have some self-seeded here in the beds. I also put in a Chinese cabbage, and as I was planting my beans, like I said, the dragon tongue beans came up very well, but my provider bush beans did not, and I have a feeling that has something to do with the seeds themselves. And well, I resowed some, but you know, win some, lose some. But we have some other things growing in that bed. And here, underneath the archway, we have our edible air potatoes, and they are what I'm going to call tasseling. I mean, really, they're flowering. It is very beautiful. I did not expect them to do this. It is so, so beautiful. In fact, under here, you actually smell the flowers. They almost smell like a perfume, and it's not overbearing at all. It's actually very pleasant. But we can walk through here. It's not hitting our heads at all. It's just very nice. And I do have some of the aerial tubers growing. We will be harvesting this pretty soon because, as you can see, the plants are dying back, and this is what they do in the fall time, is they get all their energy out of the plant itself and bring it down to the tubers underground. And that is what you can eat or let grow back. And in these, what I call Titanic beds, I do have 3 first-year plants. So if I decide to leave the tuber in the ground and they come back, they should come back more vigorously. But look at all these aerial tubers. This variety is edible, and it is related to the invasive species here in Florida. But from my understanding, it's not as invasive as that, but it is the same species. And this one, like I said, is edible. So I'm very excited to try it. It might be a very good potato substitute for here in the subtropics. And a little hard to see, but hopefully you can tell. Some of them have very interesting shapes. So, like I said, I'm very excited about this. We'll be harvesting it very soon. And those edible air potato yams are providing shade for my Asian greens. Oh, we love our greens here. And first I have the African blue basil. It was a cutting I randomly had, stuck it in the ground, and glad I did. Oh, I'm really enjoying this purple bok choy, putting in our salads, along with this small baby bok choy. But I'm finding that I like to plant those baby ones in flower pots. I think that's going to work better. And this is Celtis or Celtis, a type of Asian lettuce that you actually eat the stalk of. It tastes a lot like sweet corn. But yes, filling up these beds, and at this point in mid-October, I have been harvesting. So, like I said, early harvest, it might be worth it. Those are some mizunas. Here is an outstanding bok choy, and also our runner beans. And this is something I am experimenting with, and they are starting to flower. They haven't opened up yet, but those are the buds. And I don't expect them to be a perennial bean for me, as they are for some climates. I am hoping that they might be a good annual bean. Maybe even just set the tuber underground and come back in spring. I don't know. I mean, it does heat up here pretty fast, so I'm not counting on that, like I said, but this is an experiment. We'll see. Going over into the next Titanic bed, we have a black cherry tomato that I'm hoping will flourish here on the side, and some kamatsunas. Oh, I love kamatsuna. And I think it's pronounced chijimasai. Also sprinkled amongst that are some other greens that I had in the picture, but this is a new one to me. It is Tokyo Bacana. I mean, I just like different greens. I like the different tastes. I'm so far liking it, along with this one here. I don't think I'll be able to pronounce it, but I am enjoying that green just as much. I've just been putting these in salads and a lot of our cooking greens. That's a mabuna, and this is that type of mizuna I cannot pronounce as well, Beni Gramaro. When it gets cooler outside, these leaves turn purple, and it's a very mild tasting mizuna mustard. And I'm really liking it. And it also has a pretty pink stem. So I like putting those in our salads. And this here is a millet plant that I accidentally planted. I do have pet birds. You probably always hear them behind me in the videos, but sometimes I'll throw their birdseed in the compost and I'll have a millet plant come up, and my goodness, this is just one plant and it just keeps shooting out all these millet seeds. It is actually making me think if I should maybe consider growing that as a food crop, because I think you can turn it into flour or some sort of food that's edible for us humans. So I don't know, we'll see. but just kind of showing you where we're going, just kind of going over to the other side of these Titanic beds. I have, what I've planted here are some nasturtiums that I have planning to drape over the beds. And here's a bunch of flowers that I'm also hoping to grow in the garden, but that is the nasturtium plants. I can't remember exactly which ones I put in here, so it's going to be fun to see as they spill over and start giving their flowers, because we love to look at these flowers, but also eat them as well. So going from where those nasturtiums were, we are walking past the other Titanic beds, just giving you an idea where everything is at. There's the millet plant we had looked at, and there are the beans. One of my favorite spots of the garden is actually right here. But first, I want to show you this. This is an Okinawa spinach. This is a tropical green. It doesn't do too well in my summers. I mean, in the sun, it doesn't seem to like it, but I do have sandier soils and a drier area as far as rains go. But when it does get cooler out and there are some rains and I'm watering, they actually look really good in fall, and they taste really good too. And also some name yams climbing up the sugar cane. That is a nice living trellis. And we're gonna slide over here to this bed. I'm going to call it the collards bed, because this is where primarily my collards will be. And I'm growing 3 different varieties. I mean, there's other things growing in here too, like more beans. I was trying to give them a go this year because the last 2 years they weren't coming up, and I just wasn't sure why that was, but Dragon Ton coming up again. And this is a type of basil. I thought it was my perennial blue African basil, which is said to have sterile seed. But we'll see if that's what it is, because that's what it smells like it is and looks like it. But we'll see as time goes on. I'm going to leave it there. And here are some of the collards, and I do need to thin those out. I am probably going to do what I do every year. It's called my free plants method. I do have a video on it of how I take seedlings from the garden and I help spread that around and create more plants. So I'll have that down in the description for you to check out. But here I did start thinning them out so that way the plant can grow better, because they simply can't grow to their potential when they're all crammed in like that. But we'll see that as time goes on. And I did put in some bok choys just because I had extra plants, and honestly I missed our bok choys last year. I didn't have too many, and like I said, our Asian greens and salads, oh my goodness, those are our favorites. Some more nasturtiums on the side that I'm hoping will spill over this end of the bed, so when my husband and I are sitting at our bench, we can enjoy that beautiful nasturtiums. In this, what I call the fire pit bed, I do have some Chinese cabbages that I showed you a picture of the varieties with, but this in the middle is a red acre cabbage, and it grew wonderfully there last year, so I've decided to do that again this year. But that is a type of Chinese cabbage, I don't remember which one, and this is probably outstanding bok choy, and I just kind of alternated them throughout, or I should say around, the fire pit bed. And actually I think that Chinese cabbage might be my Kyoto number 3, whatever it was I had showed you. But anyhow, here is the bench that we enjoy to sit at, and behind it I am testing something. I did put in 2 red acre cabbages there. I had some extras, and we dumped in a pit back here some of the mucky homemade compost we had made, and yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't perfect compost, but we had some left over. We just dug a hole, buried it, and planted some cabbages on it. So we'll see what happens. They're actually shockingly looking really good. They do get a bit of shade, and I'm noticing that with my plants as we start out, that we still need some of that shade here in the sun, because Florida here, yeah, our sun is brutal. So that'll be fun to keep an eye on. Our plumbangos that are still just continuously flowering, and it's still growing through our name yam, which is just beginning to die back, and you'll be seeing that here. Some of that might be branches from the tree that is above, but inside the plant is starting to die back. Like I said, this is natural for the yams. The energy is going down to the roots, and there you can see the leaves are yellowing, and I feel like this yam is going to be huge. Another tropical tuber, that is the cassava, and down below the cassava plant we have another red acre cabbage, looking better than it was in the teaser tour. It is getting a bit of shade from that tropical cassava root crop. And speaking of root crops, here are some radishes that I'm growing, and we are looking at here some watermelon radishes that I just popped into the ground. And yeah, been having a little trouble with that with the sunshine. But the papayas that are growing in here are giving shade to these rat tail radishes, and I have been thinning them out. I still need to finish doing that, but they are looking pretty good. And moving over, we are looking at our bitter melons, and those are the varieties I am growing. And I did harvest one of those big top green ones, and I was expecting more, and I don't know, it's been a little questionable. I mean, we see some here, but not all of them have developed, and I'm not quite sure why. But, you know, I feel like some bugs have been attacking it, so that's not helping. But I do have a new variety that I am trying as well, and it is the white pearl. I had a picture of it, but the plant is looking good. It is growing up from behind that beautiful vinca flower plant, and it's showing some promise, so we'll see. I mean, last year we had a wonderful bitter melon crop, so this year not so much. Could be the variety, could be that I planted it in a different location. Those factors do matter, so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll check on it in the next tour. But something that I think is very interesting is we're going to go down the line here, and we're going to look up, and here is a wild bitter melon that's actually growing in my neighbor's yard and growing up their tree, and it's also spilling over our fence line. Yes, we have bitter melon that grows here. So actually, I don't save seed from our domesticated ones just because I don't know of the edible properties of that wild one. But it is very interesting. I am not able to show you because apparently I don't know how to zoom in with my camera, but there are fruits up in there, and I noticed that the fruits look way different than in the past. And I realized, oh, they crossed with my bitter melon from last year, so I thought that was pretty funny. But going down the back of the fence, we are going to walk past our ashwagandha that I'm experimenting with. I still did not dig up this one, but I did dig up the one in my other bed because you use the roots for tea and other things. But here are some daikon radishes. Of course, I cannot leave them grow like this for long. I need to thin them out and just let one go. Those are those big white radishes. And yes, I do have cardboard all throughout. We had a couple of windstorms, but that's just evidence of the sheet mulching we were trying to do in summer. Here are some Seminole pumpkins. Oh my goodness, I re-sowed these plants and they still have that white on them. This is not powdery mildew. I tried to look it up, and the best answer or possible answer I have is it could be a disease from whitefly. But you can see me tapping the plant and there's no white flies underneath, but I did have white flies on the cuckoozy plant that was growing here. So I don't know what's happening. So if anyone can help me out with that, that would be great because I don't want to miss out on my pumpkins again this year. But here is a failed patch of more watermelon radishes. It was just too hot at this point. We were getting like 85 and higher degree temperatures. Fahrenheit. And it's just very dry in this area, very sandy. A couple popping up, but I don't have much hope for them. And more daikon radishes. But I will quickly say that I am experimenting with radishes, starting them in seed starting trays. So we'll see, maybe that'll be a better way to jump in on the season. But another Seminole pumpkin and more of that white whatever it is that is on, it's not really on these plants. It's like part of the leaf color, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm hoping it grows out of it. But down in this panadol herb, I do have a giant kohlrabi growing, and that's also a picture of other large brassica plants that I have in my garden. But these giant kohlrabis, I generally can grow them very well. And here's another one. Those are kind of my fail-proof plants. We're going on the other side of what I call the cornerstone bed. Here I'm going to point out a few things. This is a garlic vine growing out of a container, and it's something I've been experimenting with. It tastes very similar to garlic and can be grown here in the subtropics. The larger leaves are rather tough, but I'm still, like I said, experimenting, and I've read you can do things with it, so we'll see. But I've been adding the tender greens to salads, and that has been pretty good. Down below, we do have our self-seeded bok choy from a plant that went to seed last year, so I always think that's fun. Sometimes I just purposely let things go because of that. Get free plants that way. And speaking of, in this container, we have some self-seeded lettuce from a plant that went to seed here. And I already have some lettuce we'll be seeing, but it's like nature giving me a succession sowing of them. And here I have a green cabbage, and I've been trying cabbages here, and this is growing in some shade and it seems to be doing very well. We also have some clouds coming, a storm on the way, so we better keep it moving. And here I have some of the mustards we are growing. We really enjoy our mustard greens. We cook a lot with them. And here I have some cilantro growing in the back, and it gets some shade and it's actually looking pretty good. And also our tomatoes, and looking pretty good. Here's all the varieties I'm hoping to have. But as always, there's some damage on them between pests and disease. But we also have new growth coming, and that's always been my saving grace with tomatoes, is just having that new growth come back, and sometimes it really saves the plant, and I do get some fruit from it. We also have a lot of different lettuces that we are growing. A lot of these ones are from a Florida lettuce seed pack, so I don't know exactly which is which. But there I'm looking at is a Hopeful Everglades tomato seedling, because I forgot to start them this year and I was depending upon them reseeding. You've seen my single seed challenges of my noodle beans in food containers. Well, the beans are gone, and in their place we do have some lettuce. And the thing with beans, as you might know, is they do create nitrogen nodules that break down and help leafy greens, or any plants really. So lettuce seems so appropriate in these food containers, and it's a nice little subtle nod to the single seed challenge. More mustard greens, so many of them. And this is a tomato I had to replant because I already had some sort of disease on it, and it started blackening up, and I've seen it before and I can never seem to get rid of it. So I just ripped the plant out and stuck a new one in. And in that short amount of time, the storm has gotten much closer. So we are moving as fast as we can. But in this container, I do have more of that wonderful Mizuna that's very mild, and it turns purple when it gets colder. And this I've always wanted to grow, and I grew it by accident. It is like a Japanese red mustard, I think it is. This was actually a random bit of seed that was in my Chinese cabbage. I planted Chinese cabbage seeds and this came up. Just one plant, and I knew exactly what it was. So we're trying it and we're liking it. And closer it is coming. Let's quickly look in this raised bed here. And here are the carrots that I'm growing this year. And in these raised beds, I am dedicating some of it to the giant Japanese carrot, and worked very well last year. Along with, well, some blue dazzling kale. These are all the kales I am growing. And blue dazzling is not turning out to be too well, but this white Russian is doing quite nice. So I didn't do the red Russian this year, just the white Russian. And we also have some salad burnet. I like to grow a lot of different kind of accent greens. I don't know what you would call it, but here's some of them on the screen. But I really like salad burnet. It tastes very much like cucumber. I had to plant more seed because bugs get in them. But the wind is whipping around. The storm is still coming. My goodness, we are gonna try to get as far as we can. And here's all this wonderful sand. I don't mind showcasing that because that's real life. I'm here in Florida, and thanks to my wonderful little dog Lunabelle and my other one Minu, they like to play with each other in the yard and they tear up our grass. So that is the way it is. But here is a tropical broccoli I always forget the name of. Starts with the letter P, but it's doing very well in this container. It is supposed to do well in my climate, and last year I had issues with broccoli. But down below I wanted some salad radishes, so I have sprinkled them in these containers hoping I could get a quick crop of them. I mean, we'll see, but with these broccolis I'm hoping that they will come through because last year it did not turn out too well. I think my soil was just too good in the containers and they were too happy and they just never produced any sprouts for me. But I did just show that I do have stones laying in these containers because of all the wind we've been having to keep the mulch down. But here are the beets that I am growing. I was growing multiple beets, but the bugs took them all out, and my favorite beet here so far is the Lutz winter keeper beet, doing very well. And these 3 containers were filled with all the other beets I had, and unfortunately bugs took them all out. Was it because of there happened to be pests in those containers? Was it because of the variety? I do not know, but there's some more salad radishes and hoping to get a quick salad crop or salad radish crop. I do have some beets growing in my seed starts to help get them going, to get them back in these buckets and hope for the best. But I just did the Lutz winter keeper beet because that did so well for me last year. The leaves did wonderfully. But in between these beets, and we are on the other side, I just wanted to show you my sugar apple seedling. I grew this from seed. I tried the fruit, I liked it, bought the seeds from a local nursery, and we're just gonna see if it's gonna work here. It should work in my climate and in my sandy soil pretty good. But getting ourselves back looking at the rest of the pots, these are some of the onions that I am growing this year. And here they be, the Granix short day onion, because in the South we need to grow those if you want the bulbs. And last year, bad onion year because the bugs ate all of them, and the year before that, very bad because not a seed germinated. And here this year, it is looking like all my seeds have come up and all of the seedlings are growing well. So just a testimony again to some years you get a bad thing happen and some years it works out well. So far looking good with the onions. And next to them is this Barbados cherry tree. I don't think Barbados cherry is literally a cherry, but we enjoy it. Looks like a cherry, tastes kind of like some sort of cherry, but they're finally starting to come in. They have not fruited for us for a long time because of just so many weather issues like the heat, no rain, hurricanes, got cooler one year, but they're looking good. And underneath, I'm trying something new. We have alternated our blue turmeric. I used to have that growing in the carport, and long story short, I think this is going to be a better plan for them. And some kohlrabi. So we're alternating them below this Barbados cherry tree, and it's turning out pretty good. It's turning out really nice, actually. I like the look of it, and using some of the sticks as a border. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We're getting a lot of cherries. I had to go inside. The storm was really coming in. Now that the storm has passed, we're going to continue on in what I call the rock bed. And we are just looking at one of the tomato plants I have here. I think this is some sort of green grape one. But this is looking pretty good. I didn't really amend the soil too well. Another side, we have an eggplant, and this Midnight Moon hybrid had done wonderful for me a couple years back. It was when I started doing garden tours. So I'm hoping to have that flourish and come through. It's looking pretty good. Again, didn't amend the soil, so we'll see. It's pretty sandy. More tomatoes. I believe that is my black cherry. That's one of my personal favorites. And we also have this green cherry. It's like Dr. Green, I think it's called. Been nipped at by bugs, but it's coming back all right. I'm not too worried. Right in the area of these tomatoes, I do have a red acre cabbage here. It has been blasted by the sun and not looking too good. But yet, this Sahara kale is doing great, and they're both in the same conditions, same sun, watering, all that, but it's just interesting to see what is working and not working so well in the different things that are happening. And here, getting a bit of shade is kohlrabi, and like I said, I do grow that very well here. And amongst this bit of shade is the Sahara kale again, but actually the one blasted by sun is looking better, so I'm taking note of that. And within the shade of this Cuban oregano, we do have another red acre cabbage that is looking better than the one that I showed you just a moment ago being blasted with sun. So as a gardener, we just gotta take note of those things, so many different factors. And of course, our big pigeon pea tree. I mean, technically not a tree, but it feels like it. But I am expecting that the blooms will be happening very soon because it is the time of year for that. So perhaps in the next tour, I use them as dry beans. And also another tomato, not looking so good being blasted with the sun, but I believe that is my chocolate Cherokee. They pulled through very well last year, so I'm hoping for good things. And swinging around here, I call this my Florida fall leaves because we don't have that change of season. This is that, I think it's red cranberry hibiscus, also known as false hibiscus or false roselle. I think that's what it is, false roselle. It's not the one that you make the jam out of calyxes, but it's a very beautiful plant. And down here, we do have our African potato mint, and I did do a video on my experience in growing it. What you need to have in order to have a good harvest, but I just explained to you how it was going with me, and you got to see the harvest and saw how it grows. So I'm excited to harvest from this, and in fact, it might be hard to tell, but right in there, they're starting to flower, and that means they're going to be setting on their tubers. And last year, we adopted our puppy Lunabelle, and this was her favorite potty spot, so I didn't get a chance to harvest from that, so this year I can. Now we're moving into the extended portion of our rock bed. This is new this year, and I do have turmerics and gingers growing here. This is not where I wanted them to grow, but we had them and had to put them somewhere. And those papayas are actually looking really, really good. But below the papaya plants, we do have some more of that tropical broccoli. And you know, you'd think the shade would help them, and they're looking all right, but I'm beginning to think they like being blasted with the sun because I do have a couple more that are growing in this same bed but getting hit with the sun, and as long as I water them well as can be, they're looking pretty good in the sun. But here we have some self-seeded nasturtiums. Oh, I was hoping so much I'd be seeing them. I hope I see more and more because we love our nasturtium flowers. And in this bed, if you remember my You Can Grow in Sand video, this is where that was. We extended our rock bed into it. So it's just a nice little subtle nod to that video. Another tomato plant, looking pretty good in the shade considering. And in this decorative tipped to the side pot, we have a Chinese cabbage in here, and it's looking pretty nice. I'm hoping the water that the pot will hold will help wick up into the plant well and keep it good because, oh, we love our Chinese cabbage. And that's the tropical broccoli I was talking about, being blasted by the sun but being okay. And this is another one of the tropical broccolis. It was actually one of my not so good seedlings because very leggy, not good, but yet doing okay. And another nasturtium. Gotta have our kohlrabis. I've been popping those around because, again, we grow those so well and we like it, so might as well keep growing it. And in this little area of the rock bed, this is the dog hangout zone. And yeah, overgrown, its days are numbered, it's gonna be mowed down. But we're gonna walk through here and admire these, what are called Biden's Elba, also called shepherd's needle. It is a native here in Florida, and I believe there are some edible qualities to them as well. And the bees love them, and they really look good, or really start looking good, I should say, in the fall winter season. So I just let them grow. But I'll tell you what, we'll be seeing soon that sometimes there are negatives to that if you let them go to seed. But anyhow, here where the turmerics are, I did plant some carrots. It's not looking so well here, and I was very concerned to grow anything else because when the turmeric does die back, you don't want to keep watering the area because I don't want to ruin the tubers or the rhizomes of the turmeric. But I'm noticing that something is happening here. Someone's digging around in here, and I know my dogs might have been at it. I do have some critters in my ground, like I do have moles, and I think they're called glass lizards. In fact, I just saw one today in the garden, and they dig around and they can mess up the plants. And I'm actually looking at a hole in the ground. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but there is a hole there, so there has been something digging around, and that's just a part of the nature of gardening, is nature happens. So I'm not too hopeful about carrots in that patch. But moving on around, I have some of the holy basil that has gone to seed, and I'm just letting it go to seed. I still need to make tea out of that. But I do have some possible seedlings coming up. I also do have a tropical sage that looks just like that. But here are some of the carrots on this side. So they're actually coming up. But the problem is with those Biden's Elba, those pretty white flowers I was showing you, is that they give out seedlings that look just like the carrots, and those probably are them. So they look very much, you know, like the carrots. So I've been letting them grow together until I see their true leaves, and then I can tell what's a carrot and what is not. So that's a bit of a bummer, but that's where some more carrots are, and I'm hoping they will continue going well. And we also have some sort of self-seeded plant here. It ended up being a bok choy, but I let self-seeded plants go usually when I can. And here is my giant pink Belgium tomato plant, and we're just going on the other side. And you can see where the carrots I'm showing you are growing, and here is that tomato plant. I had my largest tomato I've ever grown from that pink Belgium, at least according to the seed packet. And I'll tell you what, this is not growing in amended soil. It's very sandy. Last year it was growing in the oak tree shade, and this was our best producer. In fact, it does have potato leaves, you can see. That's a rarer thing, I guess you could say, with tomato plants, and I wasn't so sure how tomato leaves do with regular leaves. And last year just threw that plant out there, not hoping much of it, and did very well, and this year it did again. But next to that conkerberry I just showed you, we have another nasturtium. Nasturtiums everywhere. And here, I want to show you this. This is a little papaya plant, and I don't know if I showed you it in a teaser tour. I don't remember, but this was nipped down. You can see right here where it was cut. And the way it was previously, it was just like a twig sticking out of the ground. I planted the plant, it got cut, whatever happened, looked like a twig, not a leaf on it. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to continue watering it, letting it go, and look at it. Just evidence of how resilient plants are. And down below here, just a last minute little kohlrabi seedling, threw it in the ground. And in this well, we have some bok choys for our salads. And going around to the other side, we have, well, that is a poinsettia, a native poinsettia in Florida. I have on the other side of the well some lettuce. So this has nice salad greens in it. And if you can see, where I'm pointing, that is a Florida Finley onion. It is a perennial onion I'm experimenting with. I actually put that in there in summer, and I hear it can come back in fall. Completely forgot about it, and look, it came back. So that is one of my onions I'm experimenting with this year. Something else I'm experimenting with is these tomatoes growing here. One is a large green slicer of a green zebra, and the other is honeycomb hybrid. And I'm hoping to attach a string through this yerba mate and have it go up to this pole where we hang our hammock, and it'll make a sort of tomato teepee. I mean, we'll see. This is an experiment. So, I don't know. But I will say this, in our next tour, you're going to see that this yerba mate, well, something has changed here. Let me just tell you that. But that is gardening. You know, as you go, you figure things out and change things where you feel like they need to be changed. Swinging our way back into this rock bed, I just want to show you that's where we were with the Sahara kale. And that is where we were looking at the carrots and the pink giant tomato. And there is the moat of sand around the garden. You can grow in sand. You can grow here in the subtropics of Florida. Because of the rain, I haven't been able to finish showing you everything. I forgot to show you this purple cauliflower. It's looking really good. You can see the dirty water on the plants because of my dogs running around. They get the plants dirty, but the plant is looking good. I wanted to plant more, but I don't know, sometimes broccolis, cauliflowers, it's very hit or miss for me every year, but we will see. We will see. Now down here below the window of our dining room, this bed, I know I got to trim things up, make it look better, but I did pop in some more kohlrabis. I'm experimenting with this area because our oak tree came down and more sun is coming through here. I've had collards growing here one year, did very well. And these are struggling a little bit, and they're actually looking better than they did before just because of the blast of the sun. But like I said, kohlrabis usually bounce back. We'll see. They don't look the best right now, but like I said, give it time. This is still early. And this one really got nipped hard. I don't know. Bugs and the heat of the sun. I don't know. But here is more of that tropical broccoli. This is not a good seedling. It is super leggy. It literally was my last seedling. I was just going to compost and get rid of, but I just popped it in. Should have buried it deeper maybe, but I have had a bad seedling growing here last year just to pop it in the ground, and I did get a couple little florets, so that's what I'm hoping for, just something. But a work in progress. We'll see how it goes. Still experimenting with this space. This is where the oak tree was located. And in going down, there's the Barbados cherry that is now producing, probably because it's getting more sun. And behind, we have the perennial Mexican sunflowers. And these I use as my chop and drop plants. They grow really big and they accumulate a lot of nutrition from the ground. And you can chop and drop them in your beds. It helps give some organic matter while giving nutrition as well, which I really need. And next to that, we planted what maybe should have been more perennial Mexican sunflowers. We did plant more sugar cane. And under here, I did bury some of that mucky compost I had. Was it good compost? I don't know. But then I took my sugar canes and just laid them underground. Instead of sticking them like a stick above ground, I just laid them underground, buried it, and now they're growing. It's looking pretty good. Now this, I wish I showed you a before and now footage. This is a dragon fruit plant that we've had for multiple years. It's been moving around the garden, trying to grow it fine. This was stuck behind our bananas for a long while, kind of forgotten about. And then I thought, let's pull it out. The oak tree's gone. Let's give it a second go. And it looked horrible. It looked horrible. I'm not saying it looks fantastic right now. It is damaged. But my goodness, it was yellow and shrivelly and bad, but it's starting to green up. And yeah, I gotta trim back some of the bad parts, but my goodness, I wish you could understand the progress this has made. So I have higher hopes for it now. We're gonna go to the carport side of my yard. And this little girl, Lunabelle, is not allowed to come back here because I have some things growing that she just cannot handle. Lunabelle is obsessed with peas, and I cannot grow them in my main garden area, so I am testing them here. Cascadia works so well as a sugar snap. And you can actually see they're starting to come up. This area gets pretty much complete shade. I did mix it up with potting mix in this sandy soil just to kind of help. But they are coming up, and we'll see how they do because I have no other place to plant peas right now. Because of her, she's so obsessed. She actually takes the plant out, eats all the peas themselves. It's just not going to work this year. I don't want to try it. But here we are, like I said, carport side and against the south side wall. So this gets really, really hot over here. Very hot. This is actually a troubled place for me to grow, and I had a lot of tropical plants growing here. You've seen in my past tours. We took it all out because when we had our tree out, we had to take it out so the people could bring their equipment through. But I thought, let's experiment. I planted a Seminole pumpkin here. I had a last seedling, threw it in here. And then I had a self-seeded watermelon plant because I buried some food scraps. And I thought, well, let's just let that go too. So we'll see what's going to happen. Will we get some watermelon in fall, maybe in winter? We actually have a watermelon growing, and I did self-pollinate it. I had to come back here and get my paintbrush and do the whole pollinating thing, and it is growing. It is about the size of a golf ball right here. So we'll see. And I also put in a tomato just to test this area out. Will it be able to handle the heat? We'll see. But my husband and I also have other plans for this space. There's the watermelon plant, and there is the pumpkin, and they are going to rival each other because they're both vining plants. And I must say, this footage is making it look really good. I don't know why. I don't have a filter on this or anything, but in person, I'm not going to lie, these plants are struggling hard, the pumpkin and the watermelon, because of the heat. So I don't know. It also has, the pumpkin also has that bit of white on it. Like I said, not powdery mildew, it's just whatever's happening. I also have a pineapple, we'll see. And the pumpkin is starting to flower and it's making its way to this fence area. Moving to the other side, another experiment. This is a very shady area at this time of year. And first I want to say, here's my CISO spinach. This is a tropical green for this area. Grows in the summer, but it seems to like it when it gets cooler and it's wet. But growing in this shady spot, I know, I'm gonna try tomatoes. So these are all the extra seedlings I had that I was just gonna compost, and also some leftover mustards that I just didn't have a place for at that moment. I just alternated them. And I'm pretty sure the greens might do okay, but the tomatoes, we'll see. I do need to mulch this area. But I did notice on this tomato plant, we do have some flowers. I will say right now that one tomato did take, but I don't know, we'll see. I didn't really amend this spot. This is all just basically food scraps that I've buried in here over time. And yeah, that's basically it. And I just gotta mulch the area. Those are some more of the tropical greens coming back. That's a longevity spinach and some katuk growing back. And yeah, I'm very shocked because we had to take everything out, like I said, when the tree came down. We are going out this gate and coming out to our front yard. And this is a carrot patch that I am trying. We used to have a bed here growing other things and it didn't quite work out. But I do have some carrots coming up. Or should I say, are they carrots? Because of the Bidenzelba looking very much like the carrot seedlings. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that's a carrot right there coming up. And you'll see others coming up as well. It really does look like a carrot seedling. I've grown carrots multiple times. So this is very promising to me. I didn't really amend this space. It was just an old bed that was here not doing anything. And we'll see as time goes on. I'm very excited about it. Might be my best carrot patch this year considering everything. I do want to point this out. I saw this coming up hoping it was a tomato plant. But it's actually a Lego spinach, so I don't know. Will I leave it? I don't know. Going to the middle of the front yard, here's some more of the Biden's Elba. This is sometimes just the show of the garden during the fall and winter time. So beautiful. I really do enjoy them. But looking behind it, this is our pineapple circle. I'm going to call it the pineapple circle or pineapple ring. Some of the Hawaiian pineapples I'm excited about. And within this pineapple ring, we have self-seeded a tropical pumpkin. And I have no idea, well, I do have an idea of what it could be. It could be my kielbasa squash that I had. I might have thrown seeds back in here. Could have been my green fleshed pumpkin that I grew last year. Because I did try to grow plants here over the years. But, it didn't work out too well. But this is where the tree in the front yard used to be with my passion fruit vine. And we just took out that tree as well. So this pumpkin vine just grew from that. So I have no idea. I mean, it's not looking too bad. It's almost where that vinca plant is, the struggling vinca. But there is a lot of the wood breaking down there from that tree. So we'll see. This is my attempt at more peas, but in the front yard. I'm not going to count on this going well. I didn't really prepare it at all. It was just my desperate attempt to try. And another Lego spinach that was coming up. I was actually very surprised about those Lego spinaches coming up. But we do have our garlic vine also in the front yard. This is planted in ground. This is going to flower, I think, really soon. Edible flowers and edible leaves. And that'll be fun to see. We're going to go back to the backyard of the house, but this is the AC side. That's what I'm going to call it. And have a lot of things growing back here, including our ube yam. Tropical root crop. Very beautiful. My gosh, it is so ornamental. Beautiful purpling on the vine, and it makes a purple tuber. But you can see it's starting to die back. And like I said, this is natural. This is the time of year it starts to die back. And this is also giving some aerial tubers, but very, very small. I should be able to create more plants from that. So I'm very excited. I'm trying to keep an eye on all those aerial tubers. Moving down the line, I also have another tropical perennial plant, and it is my butterfly pea. You can make tea from this. I need to do that more. I expected it to be more full back over here. I have other plans for it. But here is another flower, and this is, I think, what they call a double bloom. It looks to me like a blue rose. It's very, very beautiful. In fact, I saved seeds from my double bloom plant that was in the front yard a few years ago, and then I planted them here, hoping that they would all be the double bloom. But as you can see, there are some that have the flat petals, so I don't know. I mean, they're still very wonderful, so I'm very excited about that. But that ube yam, it's still going down. That's one plant, by the way, and I believe it's the first year. And this is the cassava, the tropical root crop as well. And I'm just showing you that they had mites. All my cassava plants had mites, and you can tell by the speckling on the top of the leaves. And that's always a sign of mites. And the new growth coming in, it might be hard to tell, but it just doesn't come out right. So we'll see how those roots are. It happened on every single plant this year. There's the garlic vine coming over and kind of holding hands with the cassava and that ube yam. But in the back there, you can see the yellow flowers, and that is our perennial Mexican sunflower that I just let grow very tall because I like to enjoy the yellow blooms that happen, but I do need to chop and drop that. This down here is arrowroot, another tropical root crop that I need to actually try, as in eat. I'm noticing that they're all kind of like pushed over. I'm thinking my dogs might have done that. So I don't know, but that should be dying back soon. And we're moving our way out. And there's Lunabelle sniffing around. And along the house, we have our tropical Katuk greens. There's our 4 o'clocks, our blue turmeric we were trying here, and those are all going to die back. And this Cuban oregano, that's probably going to look horrible soon because we have cooler weather coming. That always seems to happen with them. And another Name yam. This one did not grow well here at all. The one by the bench is nice and full, and this one is not looking good. It's dying back. But I'm not expecting to have a very nice tuber, but we'll see. We'll see. That's part of what you need to do in gardening, is try different things, see what happens. And that tipped over plumeria plant is actually shading out that kohlrabi again. I have had great success growing them here. And I'm showing you here a bunch of the herbs that I'm trying to grow this fall winter season, and that is another cilantro growing in some shade. And on the other side of the kohlrabi, my common parsley did not germinate. I think it's just bad seed, but my Japanese parsley did. I think it's also called Mizupa. It was on that picture I showed you of all my herbs, but it likes the shade. But I don't think my soil is good enough for it. But we're trying it. We're trying it. And our way up, we are seeing some very eaten up loofah plant that is dying back. And there's a reason for that. Because on the other side of my neighbor's yard, I pulled the vine over and I wheeled it in, and it was a giant loofah that was growing back there. I did not know it. It was a nice surprise. Well, this is too big to eat now because you can eat the loofah fruits when they're young and treat it like a zucchini. But that one's too big. We're going to let it be a sponge and save the seed from it. But I thought that was pretty fun. It's already starting to shrivel up at the base. We're going to go down the line of our Cuban oregano that I'm going to chop back because it had its prime, but now it's time. And down here, I did try some Swiss chard. We got some perpetual spinach and some Japanese mountain spinach. They're all type of chards. And I will tell you this right now, the chard I had in here wasn't doing too well, it seemed, but this is perpetual spinach right here on the left. I'm pretty sure that's the way I did it. And that here on the right is that mountain spinach. Like I said, type of chard. And I need to compare them too. I need to compare them with taste and how they grow and all that. But they're looking really good, very promising. Here are the 2 green cabbages I have growing along with my red acre I was talking about. But here's one of them. I don't know which one. I should have made note of it. But yeah, we'll see. Never grew green cabbage before. I have my Poinsettia 76 cucumbers, my quote-unquote late planted. And I need to make a selection because I can't let them both grow. And in this pot, we will be having celery, and I believe these are considered herb celeries. They never really get that big for me. It's just because of how I grow them, and I just use them as just like an herb. I don't use them as stalks, so that's going to be plenty for me. We're going to see that as the year goes on, or the season goes on. And up here in the moringa, this is wonderful in the summer heat, but in the winter time we usually cut it back. Well, honestly, I cut it back all throughout the year, but this is evidence that when you cut back your moringa, it will come back. Oh, it comes back. So this is just some footage to remind you and myself not to worry about it when you do that. Here at the base of this moringa, where we have all our lizards here in the garden, everywhere, I also have some tomatoes planted here. I do want to have a better trellising system for it, but I do want to experiment using my moringa tree as a trellis, trying to tie them up into the branches and just see if we can just squeeze in some more plants with trellises, quote unquote, that we have. Same with trellises, living trellises as they call them. With my cassava plant here, I do have at the base another runner bean. I'm just seeing if that will work. We're trialing the runner bean itself, but maybe it'll grow up the cassava and be like a trellis. More mustards. These are probably the Giant Southern and the Green Wave. They're pulling through. I mean, they're struggling a bit. We have hot temperatures. And here's some lettuces. Oh yes, in this container we have been getting early lettuce because of starting our plants earlier. So that means early salads. And there's the tomatoes we looked at earlier in the tour, right before the rain hit. And below, we have another red acre cabbage. And this is getting some shade. And like I've been saying, some of the shade has been helping. And that is a homemade Oya next to it. I admit I haven't been diligent about putting water in it in this part of the season, but I have in the summer. In this container, hopefully, will be some bull's blood beets, but we'll see. They're having a hard time germinating. But in this flower pot, more lettuce, and even more lettuce because I do have some self-seeded plants coming from last year's seed that had fallen. So again, nature giving me a succession sowing. So exciting about that. Here is one of my last Pacoti Cosmos flowers. In fact, I didn't even show you and I realized they didn't even make it. I had some orange Cosmos growing as well. Cosmos are one of my favorite flowers, but I just might accept that I'm just not gonna fuss with them this year. I do have some self-seeded Ethiopian kale. At least that is what it is now that it's really coming up. So I'm going to probably have to thin those out, maybe move the seedlings around when they get larger. That is my plan. More of the mustards. We just eat a lot of mustards. And here's another red acre cabbage, and that one is getting blasted by the sun and having some problems. Just more looks at the tomatoes, and again, looking at our single seed challenge containers of the lettuce, just kind of orienting you where everything is, because I know we've been jumping around in this tour a lot. Some good mustards, oh yes. And a nasturtium that we'll see, and also a green cabbage in the back. Again, experimenting with cabbages in this bed. Even some summer seedlings trying to pop up. That is the callaloo amaranth that we have had growing in the summer. And another pigeon pea. But yes, it's really interesting to see how the garden looks when everything starts. It looks empty. It, may not look that impressive, but I love to see, or at least I remind myself, it's good to see how everything starts, because as we go forward in this season, we're going to see everything change. I have some new plants that I'm so excited to show you. And it's going to be future plans in the garden. We do have a muscadine grape, the delicious variety. I think this was developed by the University of Florida. And it has a lot of different properties, or traits I should say, that's going to be really good where I live. Like it can handle the pests, the heat, some drought. There was a list of other things. I don't remember it all, but we were going to do this in the front yard. I think I said that in a tour, but we changed our mind presently. We might do this on the carport side of the house because this might work better with the heat there and it might be a better use of space. We'll see. Again, experimenting. And this is a feverfew, or maybe not a feverfew. It is a Latin America variety of it. And the other feverfew that we grow to help with headaches is a European variety. So I'm hoping this Latin American variety will be better for us. We'll see. We'll see. I'm really excited about it. But you can see that it is starting to bloom. Still learning about this. And another mulberry. This is the Thai dwarf. Should have larger berries. We do have the ever-bearing one, and I just want to see how this one will do. And it's a little plant now. Gonna keep up potting it. I have ideas for our mulberries that I think will be great. So this will be a part of those ideas in the future. But if you are looking for berries in Florida, oh my goodness, try the mulberry. This is a new one to me. This is a red-tipped cocoa plum. I am trusting by things I've read that this should handle our sandy soil and be drought tolerant. I mean, with me taking care of it still, but I do have drier soils. But this does make edible fruits that I've heard. It is supposed to taste like a mild coconut flavor. Very mild in that the seed itself is edible, raw or cooked. I mean, I don't know, still learning about it, but it looks very beautiful, very ornamental, and I don't know, we're trying to get more fruits that are actually going to work in this area. So we'll see. Again, future plans. This is the sugar apple. I know I showed you the plant planted, but these are the seeds, and like I said, I did try the fruit. We liked it. Here's the seedling. I'm very excited about it. I just want to kind of show that process from seed all the way to harvest someday. I also got some gin berries. This is something, it sounds like it could do well here. It makes these little berries. Curry seed. Also, I'm going to try this. It looks like it could be a little tree. Is it going to be worth growing for our herbs, spices? I don't know. Sounds like it'll do well here. Also, we have the natal plum, given by many different names, and there's different varieties of it, but this is the boxwood variety, and it's said to be roughly a foot tall, maybe a little higher, and it maybe grows out maybe a couple feet. So very small, and it's supposed to handle our sandy soils and droughts a bit more. I mean, it still wants some moisture, and it's supposed to fruit most of the year. Again, we'll see. This is some front yard idea plans that we have for that area, and perhaps this plant will do well. Well, I hope you enjoyed what might have seemed like a crazy tour, but that's gardening. You never know what's going to happen. Gardening is never perfect, but it's always worth it in the end. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.